We've got a massive PC games expansion, PC games in the cloud, and Keystone, it makes another appearance. Microsoft decided to drop a ton of news today related to Xbox and beyond. And honestly, if we go beyond, we get to see the Xbox Keystone thanks to Phil Spencer yet again. So let's just dive into the news because Microsoft just decided, hey, we're going to dump it all today. So first up today, they are announcing that PC Game Pass is headed to 40 new countries. So basically at this point, most countries likely have access in one way or another to PC Game Pass. And if you've been waiting, hopefully your country is now listed up here on the list from Microsoft. And yeah, if it's not, I guess keep your fingers crossed at this point and hope that more things come your way. But 40 new countries are being added to the PC Game Pass list, which is a good thing as Microsoft continues to roll out the expansion of this Game Pass experience. And of course, if they keep telling us time and time again, judge us by our service revenue related to Game Pass and not anything else. And so 40 new countries should help increase that. Now, on the same vein, Phil Spencer also tweeted this out today, which links into this kind of weirdly and oddly. So he says, Microsoft and EE are expanding our partnership with a 10-year commitment in cloud gaming to bring PC games built by Activision and Blizzard following the acquisition, and Xbox to these same customers as well. We are committed to bringing more games to more people, however they choose to play. Now, there's one very specific thing you got to drill in on here is actually the words PC games, because this feels like a slightly different announcement than we have seen from other 10-year partnerships, because it's bringing PC games built by Activision and Blizzard. And the question becomes, does this mean that PC games are going to be coming to cloud streaming? Well, we don't know yet, and Microsoft isn't really saying anything else other than this statement. So the question becomes, was this a snafu? Was this an accidental thing? Or is this sort of preempting an announcement about Microsoft bringing cloud streaming to all of their PC titles as well? To date, I believe they're all related specifically directly to Xbox games, and they haven't ventured out beyond that yet, although it seems plausible that they're going to be doing that. And then what Phil Spencer is saying here also makes it seem like that is going to be the case as well. But again, this is a targeted commitment and announcement effectively, especially in the UK, to help get that deal closed for Microsoft to be able to buy Activision, which I still believe they're going to be able to get done. The only thing left in their way at this time, it seems like, is the FTC in the US. So Phil Spencer was not done for the day because he tweeted this out, but along with this 40 Game Pass thing, there was also a video put up on the YouTubes of Phil Spencer talking here. Now, the contents of what he's talking about, well, it is important. The big thing to pay attention to, as we like to do, is the shelf behind Phil Spencer. While I'm not sure if there's anything explicitly new, if you keep an eye on that top right corner, you can see the Keystone yet again in broad daylight here, thanks to Phil Spencer talking through this. Now, in this video here, it looks like it's roughly the same size as an Xbox controller. And I'll keep restarting it so you can keep seeing it here. I do have a zoom in a second, but it looks like it's about the same size as that Elite controller. Now, if you look here and blow up this image and get it all pixelated and go CSI on it, you can see in the top left corner, it's the Xbox logo, and in the top right, that it looks to be potentially like an IR receiver. And so this thing just looks like honestly, to me, it looks more like an Xbox One, the white version of, was it the One S, back in the day, last generation. It looks more like that than potentially maybe an Xbox Series S, but you choose. But either way, it's quite small. It's about the width of a controller. We don't have a great depth look at it, but I suspect on the backside, you're probably going to have a power port, hopefully an Ethernet connection and HDMI, and that's really about it. It is a little bit larger than I was actually thinking in the back of my head as this as this video was coming out from Phil Spencer. But yeah, you can see the whole shelf in all of its glory, and that Xbox Keystone sitting up there. The question becomes, when are they going to ship this thing? And Microsoft isn't committed. They keep saying, what last they said is that it might come out and they're going to go through some revisions. At this point, it seems a little big, if I'm honest. They need, getting it smaller and making it cheaper is going to be the better way forward. But honestly, I still don't know if they ever should ship this thing. If they get the apps built in directly to the LG TVs, like we have seen Microsoft doing, and everywhere else, it's like, do they need a dedicated box? Because again, if you look at that combination right there, the Elite controller, it should be more expensive than that box. And Microsoft probably likely concluded that that box was a little bit expensive. Now, speaking of Elite controllers, because Microsoft said, hey, you know what, 40 new countries coming to Game Pass, that's not enough. We should enhance the design lab. So the Elite Series 2 is getting some new colors. You can add more colors and flavors, although begrudgingly, there's still no perfect orange. I want to make a Bengals themed Xbox Elite Series controller, but you can't do it. They've got some like off oranges, and it's just not perfect. It's just Microsoft, give us good orange. Either way, so the Elite Series Design Lab is getting more color options. And so you can just personalize things more and more. You still can't change the color of the rubber grips. That would be an interesting addition at some point. I would love to be able to convert those grips into white or orange or whatever, just anything other than black, right? It's the Henry Ford bottle. You can have it any color you want, as long as it's black. But there you go. So you got 40 new games. But I still lock in on this Keystone thing because I think it's super interesting that at this point Phil's just like, well, it's already been up there. And we'll just keep it. Subconsciously in the back of my mind, I'm like thinking, like, are these things rated like at a bar where you have like bottom shelf liquor and top shelf liquor, and the Keystone is at the top because it's, you know, nobody else has one except for him and probably a few other secret people inside the Microsoft one. So dialing it back here just a little bit, I still think that this might be the more interesting thing to see where Microsoft is headed. They've obviously been doing a lot of work on the Game Pass side and trying to lock all this stuff up. And this agreement, my fingers are crossed that it was not an accidental flubbing where he said PC games, because that's, I mean, it feels like it's a big stretch to type PC instead of Xbox games built by Activision. And so maybe there's something a little bit more nuanced to this one, and that EE has something up their sleeve related to a game streaming service. We don't fully know, but at this point, if you want a 10-year agreement with Microsoft, it feels like they're just handing these things out like trick or treats. Like, come by, get your 10-year agreement. We'll bring it and make it available to everyone. The one thing we don't know is how Microsoft, when they say we're going to make it available, that likely means that these companies are going to have to do the work to bring it to their own platform, but Microsoft will not restrict the IP at a fundamental level. Because you think about it in terms of like Stadia, where you had to do a significant amount of work to make it function on that platform. I can't imagine that Microsoft is willing to commit itself to something like that for every single platform. More than likely, they're probably gonna be like, hey, we've got the cloud streaming platform, sign up for a service, and it's just included right out of the gate, and a clean label, or a white label, as back in the days we used to call it, product can be yours, and then you can just start selling it to your customers. Something along those lines might be what Microsoft has in mind, but until all this deal closes, we don't actually know. We don't actually know. So there's your nutshell version of everything that kind of blew up in the world of Xbox, and that's a great kind of way to kick off your day. So as always, my friends, make sure to keep it subscribed here, because the only BS on this channel is me.